Uh, Today is the 18th of May 2017 and I'm Sharon Slater and I'm interviewing Matthew Benn and Gerard Hartigan on life on the Shannon fisheries. And the first thing I'd like to know, I'll ask you, Gerard, is how long have you been associated and your family have been associated with the river?
Oh, a very long time. Both sides of the family fished originally, but my mother's name was Tobin, so I fished with Jelly Tobin and Tim Tobin. My grandfather was Johnny Tobin. They all fished, that family. My own father fished as well, with the Strandmen and the Abbey men, going way back. So I'm sure my father was born in 1907. So I'm sure it was around the 1850s on, and even before that, as far as my recollection anyway. They were always involved with the River Shannon, both with draftness, snapness, and later on driftness. I grew up with it certainly. Salmon fishing was big in the city at that time. You would have people over here from Crosby Road, Corrigal Boat Club, and Clancy Strand, and Barrett Lane, if I remember rightly.
With the Wallaces?
The Wallaces, yeah. So, since I was a boy, I was fishing. My first experience of the river was going down with my uncles for flat fishing, which would be flounder, fluke, dabs, an odd place in that. But in the summer season, then it was salmon. And as far as I can recollect, some of the Tobins fished for herrings in the Shannon, going back into the early 1900s. So it was always part of our life until we were stopped in the license. I inherited my granduncle's license in 1978, and I fished every year from that until it closed in 2006, unfortunately. It was absolutely brilliant river. I mean, I can testify, we'd be sitting here at this time of the year and you'd see salmon jumping out there, you know. All gone, unfortunately. So I'd still be involved with it if it was there, even though I've gone on in a bit of years now, but I still manage my time on the river if I was still able. That's about my contribution to it, really.
And Matty, how long had your family been involved on the river?
Generations, but to give you dates, and like I was first, I put it this way, Jim. When we were young, growing up, like my father, like there was no money around at the time. Now I'll just give you, for instance, like that's where the fishing was the time when we had manna from heaven, it's called, because you might get a pair of shoes then, something like that. But back in his father and my uncle's time, and back again before that, they all fished, like. And but how giving you dates, like I was born into it, and my people before me born into it. But as far as dates concerned, I just say like it came from one to the other down through the generations, and
I'd say it was around the same time.
Yeah. Well, you see, like for instance, over beyond you had the Tobins, you had the McInernys, you had the Kings, you had the Wallaces,
You had the Dorans.
You had the Dorans. What were we letting out? The Elliots, Stock Elliots.
I don't remember.
Oh, they were here. They were here in Crosby Road there. On this side then you had Farrells, you had the Benns, you had Sullivans, and Reg Fitzmaurice's, Giant Fitzmaurice you had. What else did you?
Gabriel Tobin is
well, Gabriel with the Tobins, he'd been included in that. You had Brendan Tobin, which
but there was 3 Tobin families.
There were all. You had, and then the families outside of them, they were, we said, you had the crewmen, which were Niles, and it.
Oh, there were numerous. My father was crewman.
Your father.
But my uncle lived in that house behind the white big house there, and all the boats were moored here from the corner of the falls down to where that man is walking there. all our boats are lying across there. And they'll be launched in the spring sometime, and sometimes in the summer.
And do they fish as part of a group, or?
No, they were all individual fishermen.
Well, it was a dog eat dog at that time.
It was very competitive from the city, and then you had the Kona boats. The city, I think there was there 6 or 7 boats in Clancy Strand.
At least, I'm trying to figure it out now. There was, some of them had 2 boats, so you had
Jimmy and Jerry Torman.
you had the Terrells Road there then.
You had
Jimmy Terrells.
So you'd have 7 or 8 boats in the Limerick side, and you'd have the same amount over here. And that's just from the city, you know.
Yeah.
How many licenses were there?
They'd all have a licence.
There was actually on the Shannon, you had 70 drift licenses, and you had 25 draft licenses, which was shore licenses, we know that. The majority of them would have been in Limerick at the time.
The boat, yeah.
You had maybe...
You had 5 boats in Corner too.
You had 5 boats in Corner. Then Newtown had maybe 10 or 12 boats there at one stage.
Between Sandy and Newtown,
Yeah. No.
And then you had... I don't know about... is it Clarina Pier there, is it? Was there any family there?
In Clarina? Well, in Mungret Pier there was the door.
Past Mungret now. Down below. Down by Bridge Rocks there.
Oh, inside, yeah. Ringmoyland.
Ringmoyland.
There was
one or two
families there.
There
was 2 families out of there. Can't think of the names out at the moment. Actually, I should have bring you a list of license holders. So I had a couple.
That would have been handy.
I get you one. I get one. But,
that would have been handy.
How far up and down river did you fish?
Well, we started out there if you wanted, but we were. There was some court case back in the very early 1900s when they were moved from shore fishing, which would be draft nets, down past Banton's Pier. You know Banton's Pier just down the river here? And the Laxware Company won the court case anyway, so the net fishermen were put down to Mucknish Point, which is down by Kona. And to the best of my knowledge, that's where the drift nets came in, because it's horrendous to walk the mud down there, only in certain areas. Yeah. But so that's when the drift net started on the
from Kona down.
From Kona down
to Kiltallan Point. Was
yeah, that's where we fished.
Yeah, that was our.
But you couldn't go from here to Luped if you your license would cover you for that.
But you see, we were governed by tides. We say the boat to leave here at high water. We said you had 6 hours then. But you wouldn't be fishing 6 hours because you'd have to contend with other boats as well. And there's times of tide that you'd have to lay up anyway because it wouldn't be...
You're too fast.
You're too fast for it working.
Yeah.
But like, you'd fish it down for the 6 hours, we say, whatever that would... You just say the airport. Fish it back up again to Kona, that would be your days. And maybe, like, the average day on the river would be, in them times,
12 hours.
Be 12, 14, 16 if there was 6. You know, you'd stay.
Long days, yeah. We go down with the tide and come back with the tide.
Yeah, that's before we say the advent of a lot of motor cars. Like where they'd be working over here, the Strand and stuff like. But like the advent of cars, like I fished out of Bunratty, Jerry fished out of Bunratty, and. Those other people moved down. Like there was very few boats to finish up with that fished actually from here.
To save it a long trip down.
Save the trip and weather and everything else.
But to stay down to the fishing grounds, you know. And we'd leave our boats below then, and so we'd use them for fishing. And then when the fishing day was over, we could drive home. You know. But certainly in the height of the fishing, it was all get into your boat here, go down the river, do your fishing, and then come home to the tide.
And it's it was a long day. Did you eat on board the boat?
Yeah. With a fire bucket. Yeah, most boats had fire buckets. Yeah. That was a bucket with holes in it and coke and bit of timber, with light at it.
But then if there was fish there, you wouldn't get time to eat. You just keep going and the fish get stopped. You know, it's like
some people didn't brought flasks when they came into the, you know, so you just have a flask of tea when you got a chance.
Of course, there was huts below on the island as well to sleep over in, you know.
Yeah, that was before I started fishing full time. Now my father certainly went away on Sunday night, and we wouldn't see him again until Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then he'd be gone. I wouldn't see him again then until Saturday. So that's kind of it. All the boats were like that, Matty, weren't they?
Yeah, I remember my mother actually telling the story. My mother and father, there was houses there just as you come into Merchant's Quay there. There was 3 big houses there. Do you remember Collins was the cruelty man there, Jerry May used to shoot the dogs. My mother and father, when they first got married, they were living up on a flat there. And I remember her always saying it, that your father will be gone Wednesday night, he'll be back. Sunday night, Wednesday, be back. He'd go away again and again, and they'd be back on Saturday or Sunday. And there was 3 women from the parish here. In the winter, they used to collect the fish, the flatfish, on baskets, and they have them on their head. And they go around the parish and around the Irish town selling them. That was then, but like as I was telling you before, that was the winter's fishing. Like that was like the Limerick boats never had. They never caught reed as such. You know, that was left to the Conan boys for the reed.
Well, Jimmy Grimes did now, didn't he?
Oh, Jimmy Grimes did, all right, yeah.
He caught reed. He caught reed up around down the bank as well.
He did, yeah.
He did, yeah. He'd be from the city, all right. He was a reed cutter. His son is still down.
Yeah,
he's a good age.
A Kona man, like they were Kona people that moved to Limerick.
Well,
they were, yeah. Grimes was from Kona.
Right.
Like remembering and trying to put it together now is another thing.
About it, well, but that's not about reed cutting now, are we? But
about the people that fish, like.
Yeah, like Matthew said, summertime was home time in our house then because we had extra money. We got a suit of clothes and, like Matthew said, a pair of shoes and all that kind of stuff. Then all came with fishing. We had very little otherwise, you know.
There was nothing there. My father was a builder's labourer. What does that mean? What was the money? There was nothing there in the 40s and 50s, like for them.
A lot of them worked in the docks as well.
You know.
My uncle was working in the docks.
But the fishing was always look forward to clear bills and get clothes and whatever.
But the fishing was fantastic at the time.
Absolutely.
You'd have boats coming up there, every boat and on the peak season out with a 50, 60, 70 fish for the day, you know. And there was a weir up behind us owned by the ESB, and they were getting
thousands.
They were getting 30% of everything that went up the river, so they still had thousands of fish there.
Yeah. It's just the river has been neglected down for the last 30 years at least.
30 years.
Like the bailiffs actually, as they are now, like after dark they won't go beyond the weir. It's a health and safety issue. That's what we were told on the board. It's a health and safety issue, like, and it's a criminal element that's up there. But yet we can't stick our head out below that. You know, it's
gone anyway since we packed it up.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the real run is anymore, you know, because they don't operate a fish counter on the Shannon. So anytime we ask, has the stocks improved or anything, we'll just get a negative answer, you know. So.
But there again, like outside of the fishing, like all the fishermen, like the Tobins and McInerney's and Wallace's, they were all boat builders, and that's all. That's all
part of it, all gone, yeah.
That's all gone, like.
I'd say you're the only boat builder
yeah,
you know.
That's the only one that still carries on, like.
And the nets as well, were they made locally or did you buy them in?
We bought the nets in, we mounted them on the ropes then ourselves. But there was a time when they made them, you know.
There was an aunt of mine living in Nicholas Street there. Chrissy Benn was her name. She used to make the nets for the snap nets for the derby fishermen. And she often made drift nets for below as well. But she had polio. And I remember my father even saying to me, he said, her hand used to be bleeding from sewn nets.
Tying the knots in the
yeah. But I mean that's way back, and the way they pay her then would be like it was money. We weren't talking money then. We were talking a couple of pounds maybe, you know. That they need to be made, and when they get fish,
she got paid.
She got paid. That's the way it worked. Like it was the same way. Like for there was a man over there, Doran, across the water there. He used to build boats there, and at the time, like a lot of the crowd in Kuna, he'd build boats for them, but they might say, look, we'll pay you and lay something down and pay you then. As I say, man, you wouldn't catch for much anyway.
No, but you pay a deposit on the boat, and
Pay a
then when
deposit.
you start to make money, you pay it back. You know?
Yeah.
And how did the boats change over the years? Did they change?
They're very similar to what they were.
They haven't really changed.
They haven't really changed at all.
It's just like little quirky things that, like you say, if you build a boat now and say you were fishing, you might say, well, the next one I'll change it just a little bit to make it a little bit, because it can get very dirty down there, like it can get very rough down there, like, you know, you could pull the arms off yourself, like trying to keep an old boat straight. But
It was a tough business. It was all done by non-manually, you know. When the boat engines came in, it was a great bonus, because that you really didn't have to sleep in the huts after that. You could come home with your boat engine, you know. But you were still governed with the tide. You wouldn't be driving back against the tide. So you'd go with the ebb tide and you come back with the flood tide. But it opened up, it took another hardship out of the fishing. That's why the times I'm talking about now, the road down on Sunday night, and there was a weekly boat just come to.
there was a cold boat, weekly
every
boat,
Saturday,
steamship boat.
and get a tow off of that. You know.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, we would leave here. I mean, it was 18 miles of a pull into the fishing grounds from here. I mean, and there were men that didn't have fancy oil gear or anything. You know, like they were tough men. But
I remember Danny Farrell telling me that my grandfather went away in the spring, March, I think, and there was ice in the boat. It was frozen up, and he had no shoes, so to keep his legs up at the side of the timber, to keep his feet out of the water. When I think of that myself, jeez, horrendous.
they were. I mean, they were tough times. But when they'd be telling you about it, they'd be telling you with affection in their voice. You know, it was like they might curse at the times and say, like, you know, but I mean, you could never go away from it. You can never go away from fishing, I don't think. If you're born in it, you can't go away from it.
It is in your blood.
I mean, you look out there, you get envious, you want to get out, like, you know.
It's a bad feeling when you can't pawn the ground, as they call it.
Yeah.
Must be worse for you looking out at it here.
There's an angler out there now. The anglers weren't affected with the licences.
How do you mean now?
When the net licences got taken away,
Yeah.
we
Well,
said
they
anglers
thought they'd benefit a lot by it, but somehow it didn't materialise. If anything, it got worse.
Mm.
So we're of the opinion that something happened at sea. In our case here, a lot of fish going up to spawn don't ever make it, because there's a lot of people upriver now that the poaching will never went on in our time. It's going on now, and it's big time, you know. And as Matty said, the fisheries, we will poach lots of times at the fisheries, but they don't seem to be.
They're not interested in the least. They're governed by the people that has power. Like, as I said, you have guest house owners, you have hoteliers, and they seem to have the power. Which, like, before we had a conservator board here, which Jerry's uncle sat on, and we had fishermen like ruling below. They'd be kind of setting the law for below. But then they brought in hoteliers and guest house owners, and they actually boomed in.
Board, yeah.
They owned it, because when the conservator board was over and they were here, you had like the local people putting local problems forward and suggesting or taking into account at that time, but not anymore. They're like, you're only a figurehead now on the board. You're just sitting there, and you might as well be chewing grass or something, because it's the fishery has been ruined by people that know nothing about it, and it's not going to recover the way they're behaving at the moment. It's not, because the angling situation is that for this year, there was no licence issued for the River Shannon for angling, but they're still fishing away. There's no stopping them.
The river is closed, you see, for fishing.
It's closed.
Trying to bring stocks back. But anyway, they're still fishing anyway. That's another matter.
The fishermen, did they have any nicknames?
Oh, they all had nicknames.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
They all had nicknames.
Everyone of them had nicknames. Every single one of them, yeah.
Were there any reasons, can you name any of them, and were there any reasons why they got that nickname?
The Squaw Sullivan, how he got his name was himself and his brother, they went off to America in the Prohibition times, before the Prohibition times in 1925 or something like that. And he was here actually, a member of this club. And he got his nickname as in America because he was running a bootleg whiskey from the Canadian border to New York. He told me that story himself here, but he's dead long since. That's how he got his name. There was Lamb's Eye then, across on the other side. He was Nigel. I don't know, I never knew their first names. I knew they were Nigels.
Yeah.
There was two, there was the Red Lamb and what was the other one? There was the Red Lamb and Lamb's Eye.
The Paddy Lamb and Lamb's Eye, didn't you?
Yeah.
Paddy Lamb.
They were too smart, and they used to be like your man in the old silent movies, but his eyes were twisted. But they were supposed to be very lucky in a boat, to have in a boat.
And anyone with an affliction that time was lucky to have in a boat.
And then you had Jerry's granduncle was the Yanktoven.
He spent 10 years in America, so when he came back they said, there's the Yank.
And you had another...
He's called the Chief.
The Chief, Dead Egg then.
Yeah, he has another name. He has two nicknames. One was the Chief, and the other one was the Dead Egg. And another fellow was called Jointy Fitzmaurice. He was a very small man. I remember sitting in the boat one day and I heard my uncle saying, here's Jack the Giant down. His name was Jack Fitzmaurice. So I expected a big man to be sitting in the boat, you know. Here's the giant.
You had Bergie McInerney. Bergie.
Iceberg. Yeah.
Bergie.
Bergie McInerney. Blackie Dorn.
Blackie.
Smack King.
Smack. Yeah. They all
are different there.
They cut one another's throats there now, trying to get away first thing, because 6 o'clock Monday morning was just starting time. The boys would be coming down the lane, because they all lived up the lane, to Corgor Valley.
Yeah, my uncle's included now.
They'd be creeping down at 3:30 in the morning to get out before the other fleet here like or anything, you know. They'd curse one another and swear, but if any of them got into trouble below, like if they got fouled up with a net or anything, like you wouldn't leave a man stuck, like you'd always pull his assistants or whatever, you know.
Well, you wouldn't leave him in trouble, you know, but at the same time, they weren't the best of neighbours.
Oh no.
There was terrible jealousy there, really. Yeah. The thing about it was the Limerick people would talk to the Crona men before they talked to the Limerick men, because they know too much about them, I suppose, you know. I don't really know, but...
Was there much intermarrying then?
Not that I noticed anyway. Did you?
Not really, no, it's well...
No, not that I noticed, no.
Like my people came from Crosby Row here, you know, and
mine was from Clancy Strand. My father was born outside the Corridor Barrow. They're all knocked now, where the car park is now, there was a lot of houses. Fishermen, that's where all the fishermen lived. And when they did knock them, they built them houses up.
Up in the back of the Corridor Barrow.
They were all known as the fishermen's houses. So everyone that was fishing really got a house there when they knocked the old ones, you know. So that's where I spent my childhood over there, really. And when the old whisky distillery was knocked, they built a housing scheme out the Wild Villas in Tomagate. That's where I was born, was up there. On the bank, you're looking out the river every day, you know.
Danny had a nickname, didn't he?
Danny Fallon?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of it now, I can't.
Oh, he had, I can't think of it either.
Like Danny Farrell lived here in Nolan's Cottages. So the much where the town hall stands now.
Paddy had the name Luna, do you remember?
Luna. And like Danny, we knew Danny very well. But he had 2 sons. He had one last year. He had one loss with the Harbour there in
Drowned,
1982 or 3, was it?
81.
81.
Yeah.
He was drowned, and he had another son then, died with brain cancer. Paddy, he was a wild card altogether, but he lost the will to live after that. But I still can't think of his name. But
I'd say he might have been interviewed as well. Was he?
I don't think so. I don't think he was. No.
No.
But he was actually chairman here one time as well. Like the fishing community here in Limerick, the net fishermen anyway were very, was kind of a closed shop, wasn't it? They all knew one another in the pub as such, like. But like if somebody see you got away before them, they say that bastard's get away before me now. You know?
They were jealous of one another. But there was a lot of crewmen involved in it as well. At that time they fished 3-man boats, you know.
Yeah.
So there'd be people fishing, like myself, before I got my uncle's licence. I didn't have a licence until he died. So I'd be a crewman in that boat for years, and there was other crewmen that never got licences at all, because it was always kind of kept in the fishing family, you know.
And the crewmen and the fishermen, were they paid differently?
The share basis.
The share basis.
Share basis.
Well,
So the man who owned the licence, there'd be 4 shares, and that would entail then, if there was a 3-man boat, there'd be 4 shares. So the man that owned the boat and licence got a share for the boat and licence, and he got his own share. So he'd get 2 shares, and the other lads would get 1 each. But the extra share being that would allow him to buy equipment and refurbish the boat and nets for the following year. He supplied the petrol and whatever. That's for the share. And then when the boats went down to 2-man boats, it was 2.5, 1.5.
yeah, it was
There was still a share taken for the
yeah.
boat, yeah. And you split the other one then. You split the other man's wages.
He got a share on the quarter.
We get another half share, you know. So.
Yeah, this one.
So whatever you were paid with, depending on what you got, there was no set wage, you know, or anything like that. And if there was, people wouldn't have went fishing at all, because
you weren't guaranteed anything. Like
you worked just as hard for nothing as you did for a bountiful day, you know. But sometimes you come in there, hands pulled off, you're jaded tired, you might have only 3 fish, you know.
And where would you sell the fish? Who would buy the fish off you?
Well, you had a few of them buying fish, and you had
you had Ronnie Hughes, you had Hayes, you had Sadlers,
saddlers,
you had the Shannon Fish store.
Shannon Fish stores, yeah.
You had them, but then, like as time went by, like as in recent years or years in the last 20, I suppose, people like sourced out private buyers, you know, which.
I sold a lot of fish private, no, and they're the last of the fishing. First of all, we weren't getting that many, so we were able to get a better price, but the fishmonger wouldn't give you the better price really, but you'd get a better price private.
Like.
So you kind of found your own niche market yourself, and that's where you sold the fish. But obviously, if you came in with 50 or 60 fish, you'd have to go to
you'd have to go to a fishmonger
then, like Cusick's or Shannon Fish stores or whatever, Sadlers, is it?
Sadlers, yeah.
Yeah, really Cusick would have been one of the biggest buyers of the fish.
But even with the man of the Squaw Sullivan I was telling you about there earlier on, he actually exported fish from here. He was a fish buyer, and he exported to Billingsgate in London. And he used to give a fair price, I know, because, I mean...
Who's that man?
Joe Sullivan, Squaw.
Yeah. Well, Martin Tobin bought fish as well.
Martin Tobin bought him, didn't he?
And he sent them to Billingsgate market as well. The one thing that puzzled me was at the time was where did they get the ice?
The ice to hold them over, because there were a lot of trains
I don't know where they got the ice, because it wasn't a commodity that time, was it?
No, we sent out from the station.
They're going the railway, the boxes.
Station down to the boat and...
The morning train, and they're gone.
Hollyhead Bank.
On the Hollyhead straight over.
Yeah,
he made a nice profit for himself doing that business, you know. So he didn't go fishing anymore, he bought the fish. And some of the people from the Strand and Glasgow were selling fish, but other than them got jealous of him, and they wouldn't sell it. So he'd get fish from County Limerick then, you know. But it was a great endeavour at the time, but like I say, I could never figure out where the ice came in from. Can you?
I can't, you know, there was no such thing as dry ice, I think, at that time.
No.
It was too...
But the boxes were all slanted. The planks weren't together, there was a gap between them, it wasn't nailed together, and they were bound by wire.
just a way of buying.
And you could see the water kind of melting out through them, you know, the ice melting. But I'm sure it kind of lasted until they got almost over to London anyway, you know.
And can you tell me about how you fished, what the draft net fishing involved?
The draft net fishing was actually murder, if you like, because you had mud that depth. You go up to your knees in mud. And the way it used to work was one man would stand on the shore, and if you had a 3-man boat, there'd be 2 men. You go out in a semi-circle like that, and you drift down so far. You go down so far with the tide, and the boat then would pull in ahead of the man on the shore, get out of the boat and start pulling it in like that. And the fish, hopefully there'd be fish inside it. That was that. No, that was tough going.
That was that.
That was tough going. That was
very hard. You're very limited to the amount of time.
You're limited to where you can fish down there as well. Then you see, because I mean it isn't all
hard mud.
It isn't all, but like you had a very short. We say you had maybe 2.5 hours before low water, and maybe
an hour after it.
2 hours maybe after that. 2 hours of fishing, but like if you were to walk maybe 100 yards in the mud up to your knees, like you'd feel it like.
Oh, savage.
Well, that's why I have a bad back in our obviously.
Savage stuff.
Crazy. Like
they were very hard eating fish.
They were hard, and you see the thing about that, then you would do 2 sessions. You would say the tide was low water at 4 o'clock now today. You'd be there 2 o'clock in the morning until 4, then you'd fish up at 6 o'clock in the morning again. But you'd be back out in the river again at 2:30 again. So you were only getting maybe 3-4 hours sleep, broken sleep all the time. Like
you'd be doing a double tide.
You'd be knackered, but like it was grand, and it wasn't. It was grand, but like with the car that when I was fishing draft out of here now, it was going down. We say to Bunratty. And back again, and going down again 3 or 4 hours later, which was an hour of a run from here down. And it was tough going then, and it was tougher trying to get someone to go fishing with you.
Oh,
you know, because nobody wanted. Nobody wanted to do it like that.
Matty had that license for years.
I had 10 years of that license.
I had tough going.
And it was tough. Like, but I had a brother-in-law of mine, an English lad. He's come home especially for it. Like he was tough out.
You'd have to know it now to do it. Nobody would pay you for that kind of. It was savage work.
But the thing that at the time when we in Bunratty, you come in, you went we link up and have a few pints and Nellies, you know, and it eased the pain a bit.
The thing about it was, if there was fish going, there'd be no point. You were going straight home and into bed. Whereas if the day was mediocre or bad, you'd say, well, we're killing ourselves for nothing. You'd have a point then, you know.
If you were coming in like in this time of day or whatever, like you'd go in, if the weather was right, you'd go in, you'd have a pint. And maybe we often sold fish to Nellies, to Power.
Oh, we did. I sold a lot of fish to Nellies. Yeah.
So it was beneficial, both was as such in that way.
And it made a big difference to us because we got double the market prices.
Yeah.
So he'd give us what he was paying Rennie Cusick for fish, but he was getting them straight and fresh off the river, you know. So he'd have double the market prices up in the wall. We were doing well that time, wasn't we?
Very well that time. We were doing.
Plus the fact we had a short run up the river, you know, with no long trip down. We could go to Bunratty River, our car was there, and go home and come back again. And it made life an awful lot easier in the later years, you know.
And how would you get the fish back into the boats from being in the nets on the side?
The shore net, they'd be swimming freely, because you'd be coming in like that. You'd be drawing them in front of you. And it was a double net then it would be fishing about 18 feet deep. Whereas a drift net, you would be fishing 9-10 feet deep. And like this, a drift net did stick in the mesh, because the mesh was a 5 1/8 or 5.5 inch mesh in it, and it would catch your gills. You just lift the net up, and you wouldn't get them all. You wouldn't get them all.
You'd lose some, you would.
Yeah,
but when they swim into it, you see they feel the little thing come, and they panic and they drive forward.
Yeah.
that's what the power is, to go forward. So once they do that, then they push them so it's harder up into the net. So it's up in their back. And they're usually stuck in it, you know. You do lose someone, right? Some of them struggle to get out of it, you know. So the draft net is the only true net. Once you have that circle formed,
And the mesh is smaller.
you have it then, you know. He's in it then.
Yeah, well,
Where would they get stored when you put them onto the boat?
throw them into the boat and throw a bit of seaweed over them mostly, just to put them, if you were getting any.
Keep them fresh, like with a wet bag, you
Yeah.
throw the wet bag to keep the sun off them, you know.
Because
They'd be on the floor of the boat really until we came in, and then we'd put them into the fish box.
Because they're a type of fish that wouldn't last too long, like out in weather. You know, you'd have to keep them somewhere cool and moist, otherwise you'd be in trouble. The fisherman would actually, if you did have a lot of fish, like you spent a lot of hours out. We'd say you spent 16, 18 hours out, and you had a handful of fish, and you would bring them into him. You might have some of the fish in the boat for maybe 10 or 12 hours, maybe more. And if the weather was anywhere warm, he'd check them. If they were gone anywhere soft, he'd cut you in price. He might say 2 shillings after pound or whatever. And you'd have to, as the years went by, people got more watery dead boxes, and they had a better way of keeping fish, like, and they were more careful, especially when they went scarce. People were very, very, like, you'd be looking after the fish as they came in, like. But
And did you kill them on the boat or?
There we
put them
are.
on the boat.
Yeah.
As soon as they come in, you give them a tap.
Oh yeah, you kill them straight away, yeah.
You'd be merciful there like that.
And what you hear them until it was called the priest. So, yeah, it was, we saw the best of it and we saw the worst of it.
This is the worst of it, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But, yeah, we growing up, it was a great childhood growing up. Great, even like.
But they all fished on late in life. What age were your father, Matty?
My father stopped fishing with me at 78.
78.
He died at 82.
Yeah.
And like he's come up to sleep in Bunratty, you know, and he'd cripple up our arthritis, and he'd say, you better find someone else to do it, but I'm not able to do this anymore. But the funny thing about it was, he'd go home and he'd sit down and he'd have something to eat, and he'd say, what time we go in the morning? You know,
The toilets we got off.
and like to the very end, the fishing was there, you know, like.
Yeah, well, I think Bergen Mechelen fished, he was over 80, in his 80s.
Well, Bergie had a hut there in
Greg Island.
the other behind
It's on the,
Staffers.
Lynch's, isn't it?
Yeah, Tom Lynch's.
Tom Lynch's place, yeah.
Yeah, Bergie was an old man. Actually, I should have ring the book. There's a book with a couple of photographs in it.
Is
Remember
that?
that one? There is, yeah, with Bergie over on the. Just
Oh yes, that's right, over there, yeah.
Himself-
One of my uncles in it as well.
himself.
Timmy Tobin. And
His
Babu.
brother. Who was it? Bergie's brother. What was his name?
Willix?
No, it was
Bergie's brother.
brother. There was one there. Oh, Jesus, I can't believe it. And what?
Terry?
And the lad that died, they were cancelled there 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years back, remember?
Donald Peters?
Oh, Donald Peters.
Donald Peters.
Donald Peters, yeah. He was there. Victor Grimes, Bergie,
And the chief.
and the chief was it? That was there, yeah.
What was the biggest fish you caught?
In weight wise?
Yep.
Mine was 25, mine was. But my uncle's got, and Matty's people, 54, 52 pounders.
So,
Quite common. He told me one time they got 11 fish inside St. Helena, inside the island below the place called St. Helena, and the smallest fish was 30 pounds. 11 fish and the smallest one was 30.
but the fish were there in
The
numbers
old
there.
spring salmon, I'm sorry man.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing was that, like, looking out at that river now, it's sad for me to look out and Jerry to look out
And me,
because,
yeah.
I mean, through no fault of its own, and through the ESB and fisheries, they left it run down to the state it's in now. It's got the nicest river in
You
Europe.
can talk of any river you like in the world and that would be a par with any of them. I lived in, like I told you, outside the river up in the distillery, and you didn't have to pull the curtains because there was no house in front of you. So like that in front of you, you know. And in the summertime, we were facing east. We'd be looking over the little shore. And you could hear the salmon. The salmon would wake you jumping in the morning. Isn't that incredible? They'd wake you, all you could hear this fish jumping outside me. It was shaking with salmon. Shaking.
It was absolutely...
It was absolutely incredible river. We'd be talking here and you'd see him out there back finning and an odd fish throwing himself, you know. It's all gone.
Like at this particular time of the year now, even the tide as it is, at the time we're talking about, the fish would be throwing themselves out.
Yeah.
You know, it was a sight now that I can visualise in my mind, but I mean, looking at it now, like it's killing.
Even people that weren't living by the river, when they came out of mass till a Sunday morning, they'd be confronted by the river and they'd be fish throwing themselves everywhere. They'd be living in different places around the city, but then when they go to mass and come out on the river, they'd see what was in the river, you know. Incredible place.
And not just the salmon, but there was the eels as well.
There was eels as well, yeah. Well, we didn't fish for eels commercially now. We fished for them pleasure-wise.
Pleasure-wise,
yeah.
Just that was it.
We put out night lines for them and that kind of stuff. But lovely to eat, you know.
There was a thing called bobbin.
The SB did commercially. Sorry, man.
Sorry, no, the SB, as Joe said, done the commercial side of the eels, but over here, the clown up, the lads here, and my father and other people here, there's a thing called bobbin, and you go down the river, and you'll have a long bamboo now, we say fair thick, and you'd have a length of cord on it, which might be 8 feet, but you'd have a ball of worms, you'd sew them together like with a needle, you'd make up a big needle and sew them on, and when you have the right length of them, then you
fold it over.
Fold it, leave it down, and just in about maybe 3 or 4 feet of water, you just do that on the bottom, and the eels come around. And at the time I'm speaking of now, you could get a couple of hundredweight of eels at the time, no problem. But now they're gone even.
Oh, they're gone, yeah.
They're gone.
That was incredible because there was no hook involved, you see. When you're tying up the worms, you're tying them on the long thread.
Yeah.
And then you start folding the thread over and back and over and back. When the eels were at the worms, the thread would get in their teeth, you know. So when you lifted the bob into the boat, the eels just fell off.
Yeah, there
was no hooks or anything, nothing like that. It was incredible.
It was
incredible. That's all I gone to.
I had a needle licence for 2 years and myself and Joey fished it there, and we were getting nothing. The eels have been depleted because the SB done that. Like they took numerous tons of eels out of that river up in Killaloo.
They were aware for fishing for eels up there.
Plus the fact then you'd have the winter months with floodwater coming down. They go through the turbines and you were getting halves, quarters and everything. They'd be shredded. Like, and the same actually affected the salmon because Peter Burns may have said this, you know, that he worked on the turbines above there, and he said he remembers scraping off the walls of the turbines salmon fry, fish that millions of them being destroyed, and there's no one held responsible and no one questioned it about the carry on that river. Something cruel, and it's even gone on to this day. They're above now in the terrace and along shore and along down the bankside there. They're fishing for salmon. They've nets out there and there's nobody going near them. They won't just go near them. They're told not to touch them.
And when you were out on the boats, were there many accidents that happened?
I only know of 2 people that fell out, but they got back in again.
Well, there are enough people, yeah. But there was 2 people lost. But it was through their own fault. That was Munchin. In Bunratty, they came in after the river and they went in for a drink. And they had too much to drink and they fell out of the water. 2 of them were drowned.
No, one of them.
Was it 2 of them were drowned?
No.
Munchin, was it?
Hickey. Munchin survived.
Munchin survived.
That was Gerard Hickey.
Gerard
Hickey.
Drowned,
unfortunately, yeah.
And can you swim?
I can swim, yeah.
But the funny thing about it, we were always born as kids. the youngest there, like if you're on the boat and you're standing up with what we call the lockers, the back seat and the very back of the boat. You stand up
to let out the net.
to let out the net. You're doing that, you see. And you were always told, if you're falling in or if you fall in, hang on to the rope of the net. We'll be able to retrieve you that way.
Pull you back up, you know.
Like that happened to Brendan Tobin, that happened to him.
Yeah.
He fell out on down Greg.
Yeah.
But he got back into the boat again, like, but
There was one incident with me, all right. I was with fishing with Gerard, the Yank Tobin, and Jimmy Terrell. Myself and Gerard were on the long oars, and Jimmy Terrell was on the net. And it was a nice bit of a wave bobbing, not very big now, but you know, he let out the net. He was pulling up his pants after the effort, and the boat got a bump of a wave, you know, and he hit the side of his feet and all over the side of it. But he disappeared. He had no hold of the net or anything. You see, he was just gone, and all of a sudden, his head floating in the water, you know. But my uncle, being very quick-minded, jumped over me, my hand, and got up where Jimmy was, and put his hand under the water and caught him by the shoulder, lucky enough. So we pulled him in and got over the shock. I hauled in the net and home, went back up to Limerick.
And the boats that you used, did you just use oars or were there sails on them?
oars. Well, there was always sails in the older boats before the outcome of outboard engines.
Outboard engines, yeah. You
You
would
see-
sail to get down and up.
There were always sails. There was always sails on the ganders.
There was, yeah.
Everyone carried, because I mean, like mostly we get westerly winds, you know, from the Shannon. So if they were coming out of the Fergus, as soon as they come out onto the main stream, they'd have the sail up and they'd get blown to Limerick. Like that was one way of getting home. Another way of getting out of there then was you had the weekly boats, the steamship boats. They'd be local crews on them as such, and they'd know that when the boats had come out of the Clare River, they'd pull out into the channel if they knew the boat was coming, and they'd throw them a line and they'd tow them to Limerick. The steamship boats would, you know.
Which was a bliss, absolute bliss.
Oh yeah. I mean, the times.
As Johnny Tobin said, third class sailing is better than first class pulling.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah. There was another saying that my father used to say.
You see, in the old days when the Abbey fishermen and all were operating, they were fishing the upper Shannon. And the Lax Weir Company owned the weir up in the Mill Road in Corby, do you know it?
Yeah.
That was the old original salmon weir from the time of the Vikings. But the Abbey fishermen fished up behind that, so that meant the weir had first choice of all the fish, and then the fishermen got what's left over, you know. But when they built the hydroelectric scheme in the Shannon BSB, they put no fish past there. So when the fish came up, they'd know where to go. The salmon would always head into the strongest flow of water. And when they were generating power up there, they were letting off heavy water. So the salmon would home in there. And then they made this dam, and there was no way up the dam. So they spawned in deep water, which was absolutely no good. So that helped to wipe out the salmon, the original salmon species in the water. And I was talking to Dr. Hartigan last Saturday.
Oh yes.
And he told me there was no species of salmon in the Shannon from the original stock. It's more clear stock.
The original salmon.
And river field.
Shannon salmon. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. They've done DNA tests on thousands of fish. The old gene of the Shannon salmon
the old Shannon River salmon
is gone.
were colossal fish. They were the big fish.
They were the big ones I was telling you about. They'd come in the spring of the year.
Yeah.
And they'd go back to sea and feed again and come back again, because there was no impediment. There was no real offshore salmon fishery that time. Nobody fished at sea for salmon. So only the inshore men, and they had snap nets and draft nets. There was no drift nets. But even when they built the tail rests, the Abbey men asked them to put bars across the bottom of the tail rest to stop the fish going in. And they wouldn't do it because
the fish was just like going into a bat. They could go
so far. They wouldn't come out. So they wanted to stop them going in. So the Abbey fishermen suggested them as a good idea, but they didn't do it.
No, it's down to men's.
Very, very bad ESB management as far as fisheries was concerned.
Yeah,
they had no one. They didn't want to hear of anyone with fisheries interests at heart because it would cost them money. Even today, it's not right up there. There's no way down for smolts in the Shannon. Even to this day, 2017, the smolts can't get back down.
And how did the trawlers affect the water as well?
Well, monofilament nets came on the scene. That time any sea fishing had to be done at night because the salmon would see the net at sea and he wouldn't go into it, you know, but he would at night time. So all salmon fishing pre the 60s, was it, Matty? 65? The monofilament scene.
Monofilament came on the scene
yeah.
in the... what happened here actually was that in 1981 the Fianna Fáil government were going out of office and the Minister for Fisheries at the time was Brendan Daly, and there was an awful lot of poaching going on around Loop Head which they couldn't control. Bailiffs couldn't control it.
It was unbelievable. They were making fortunes out of it.
They were making big money.
Big money. Yeah.
But the night before he came out of office, he actually issued 16 offshore licenses to make the poachers legal, and that's what happened.
Yeah, to the Clare men. And then when they got it, the Cork men wanted it,
Yeah.
and the Kerry men wanted it. So they couldn't just give it to Clare and not give it to... So in other words, they legalised the poaching that was going on.
We can't control it, we legalise it, that's what I was told.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because he was brought to task, that went to court, that case, by the incoming government, some fisheries authority in the country questioned that he could do that. And a minister can apparently do it, like, he got away with it anyway. And that's what really tore the backside out of it altogether.
Were women involved in any way?
There was.
There were two women I know
There
fished.
was Aidan O'Brien's wife, Anne used to fish with, and there was people living on Green's Island below, the Greens, Mary Green. She used to fish. They were the only two I know.
The only two I know as well.
They were the only two I know that fish. And Aidan O'Brien's wife. Well, the funny thing, she used to be all tugged out in wet gear and stuff, you know. And she'd have the hair tied up and stuff.
Nice lady.
People like you see, you wouldn't be fishing constant. We said there was a tower here that you'd be tied up, and there might be 5 or 6 boats tied up.
You would take
Well,
a turn.
you take a turn. You have to give a man a certain distance. But like at the time when people didn't know that she was a woman, they might want to make a slash or something. You're saying.
I'll make a pee even.
Yeah, make a pee. And no one knew that she was a woman, and later on the time, you know. So that was there was a few questions and a couple of unrepeatable answers thrown out after that, like, you know. But she was the finest. Even to this day, she's the finest.
Oh, she was absolutely.
You know? But
down to a solid woman.
Tough woman.
And good looking.
Good looking woman, yeah. And she was a tough woman. But she used to fish with her husband all the time.
For years. Yeah.
Mary Green, Johnny Green's sister, and that would have been one of his sisters that fished with Johnny Green from Green's Island, and his mother prior to that fished on her own, Mary Green. When I can remember his mother, when I was only that size going down the river, like, but they lived on the island. Actually, they told me at one time that they lived on Green's Island for 300 years, up to the time the last person died. There's no one on it now, but they were on it for 300 years, and like the things that they wouldn't be speak too much about, but they had a history of it, like, you know, and they knew what it was like in the good times and the way the fishing actually it got out of hand in the last few years, even like because you had a couple of unscrupulous people bringing unscrupulous people down fishing, and a lot of that came from the poachers that are up there now. Got their training from 1 or 2 people below here, which wasn't quite right either, because that river, if it had been left, like after 10 years being off it now, they were saying like this, after 3 years that river would return to as what we know as normal. But as you can see, after 10 years, it hasn't returned to anything.
It's got worse.
It's gone depleted completely. But
It's got worse.
and they keep putting more restrictions on people, which is crazy altogether. Like the question arose like about poaching. We were asked before, like we were the best protectors of that river down there because everyone knew one another. And if you see a strange person coming out of a strange boat, you say, well, he hasn't got a licence. What's he doing in between us? He'd be told in uncertain terms which it never happened, like, because it was, I mean, you had, the older generation were well respected. Like, you wouldn't speak or a turn in a boat. You know, you wouldn't answer back or you wouldn't do anything like that. You'd do as you're told, and that was it. Like, you wouldn't say, well, are we going home now? Like, when the boss says we go, that's it. You go then, not before. But no, I probably think of more antidotes now. At this particular time, they elude me. But like that river, as I said, we owe a lot to it. We owe an awful lot to it. Because as I said, it fed and clothed us, like. And
Did you interview anyone else as regards fishing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter last
They
night.
more or less told you the same story as we're telling you, so did they?
Well, we've got a nice variety.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And leave that there.